Hi folks and welcome to Saturday Morning Samoflange. I'm Matt and I'm all by myself. One more time before we get to the big episode 400 coming out next week. It's going to be live. It is going to be, let's just say, awesome. Expect a lot of fans, friends, and family maybe even on this one. But there were two subjects that I've been wanting to cover for a while, but Benjamin said nada, zero interest in doing these. He would have nothing to say. So I thought, you know what? Let's just, burn for a burner podcast. Let's do $3.99 as just me talking with these two subjects here. And then after 400, Benjamin and I will return to give you our thoughts on Cobra Kai, the final 5 episodes of season 6. But first off, someone had suggested this a long time ago, top 5 zombie films. Someone said, hey, Matt, why don't you wait and do this till Halloween? First off, I hate Halloween. And secondly, it seems generic that I do zombie films, so why don't we do it now? Plus, there's no one else. I don't think Mikey watches them, and Benjamin said he has no interest, so I'll just give you mine real quick, and then we'll move on to the other top 5. Number 5 for me is 28 Days Later. This is probably my brother's number 1 zombie film, and a lot of people's number 1. 28 Weeks Later was decent. 28 Years Later, yeah, I'll see it. Probably not in theaters. Hopefully it'll be good. I think it'll be better than the second one. Even though the second one wasn't bad, it was just there, 28 Days Later was something very unique, scary, really good, really solid film. If you haven't seen it before, check it out. Number 4 is a comedy. I think a lot of people probably have this on their top 5, Shaun of the Dead. Shaun of the Dead is just hilarious. Simon Pegg, I think this is the first time I noticed Simon Pegg in a film. I think a lot of people were like that. Was their first time. I know in the new DVD 4K release, everyone's mad because they put CGI blood on the floor to emphasize a certain joke that's in the movie. He slips on some zombie blood, but when the camera pans back down the aisle as he walks away, there is no blood there. So what? They just didn't have the blood. They did the bit. So they CGI'd blood there, smeared blood to make it look like he really slipped. That's fine. I don't care. Shaun of the Dead is hilarious, really good, kind of makes a mockery of the thing. Now, zombies were really big for a short time, thanks to Walking Dead, the TV show. I think that's kind of what spurned it. And then a ton of movies came out right before and then during and then after. And it kind of wore out its welcome. And now it's coming back a little bit, which is fine. A good zombie movie is welcome. A good zombie show, not The Walking Dead. I'll do my honorable mention last because it's a TV show that I really think everyone should watch. Yes, about zombies and not The Walking Dead. Anyway, let me move on to these. Number 3 is Last Train to Busan. This is subtitle. I believe it's a Japanese film. My nephew made me watch some show, We Are All Dead, on Netflix. It is also Japanese, and for a while during the trailer we thought, because they mentioned The Last Train to Busan, and I was like, shut up, is this connected to that world? And it turns out no, the kids just know of the movie Last Train to Busan because it's a very famous movie. Last Train to Busan is excellent. I don't know if there's a dub version, but watching the subtitles you don't miss any of the action, because a lot of times you don't need to read the subtitles, you get what's going on. These people are headed to Busan. They get on a train. Right as they're leaving is when the zombie pandemic happens. So like someone's running and you think they're trying to get on the train. But what it turns out is they're running from a zombie horde. And as the train's pulling away, the camera kind of follows our protagonist looking out the window ahead of them. Yet behind them as the train's leaving the station, that lady's getting eaten alive. The lady who's banging on the door to get let in. And so their next stop, they discover there's a zombie, because the train is automatic, and it makes stops on its way to Busan. And you can't stop it from making stops, even though later on they try to trip the wire to have it keep going, because every time it opens its doors to let anyone in for like 10 minutes, 15 minutes. And of course, they're having to fend off zombies at every stop. Eventually, the train's going to go off the tracks, and like the whole movie does, and it's absolutely fantastic. So, of course, someone's going to get infected on the train. They're going to have to deal with infections. Action on a train. Zombies on a train, man, all day long. In fact, talking about this, let me make sure. Should this have been number 2? No. I know it's not number 1. I still think my number 2 holds up. But Last Train to Busan is excellent. It is, 28 Days Later, Shaun of the Dead, those are fun picks. Those are great picks. I'll stand by them any day. But when we get to but if you say I don't want to watch those, I'm like, okay. Now when we get to the top 3, I think you have to watch Last Train to Busan. It is fantastico. All right, number 2 is a movie I think a lot of us have seen, Zombieland. The first one. The second one was okay. But the first one's really funny. Woody Harrelson, Jesse Eisenberg, I think is his name, and a couple other women who I don't know their names. It was just such a fun movie with a lot of great moments. Of course, the Bill Murray is a zombie moment is just great. The rules are excellent. The story is fun. That is just a really fun zombie movie. I like zombie movies that make you think about what the world would be like. Every movie tries to do that. Very few pull it off where you care about the characters. And Zombieland does that in spades. Woody Harrelson just trying to find a Twinkie in the apocalypse instead of snowballs is just, especially back then, I used to eat Twinkies. I don't eat Twinkies anymore. My kids love them. I don't anymore, but my kids absolutely freaking love them. And but back then, I could really relate to Woody Harrelson's character. He just wants a Twinkie. It's just great. There's so many, and they give them nicknames after each state, which I think is excellent. I mean, I could go on and on. Zombieland, for its humor, and then what I would think realistic setting, meaning it makes you think, what would I be like in this world, this new Zombieland world. Last Train to Busan does that without the humor, and of course both are excellent, but I think Zombieland will just edge out and get number 2. Number 1 is I hate Zack Snyder, by the way. I despise Zack Snyder movies, but 2, and one of them is his best one, Dawn of the Dead. Dawn of the Dead is excellent. The new remake of Dawn, I did not want to see this. Bruce from Prince of the Universe forced me to go see it with him. He didn't want to go see it alone. I did not want to waste my money on this. The first 5 minutes, I was like, what am I watching? I was just like blown away. And I thought it was excellent. I still think it's an excellent movie. I've seen it several times before. It's just so good. No, George A. Romero is not on this list, even though I love Night of the Living Dead, Day of the Dead, and Dawn of the Dead. I love all 3. Yes, Day of the Dead too. I think Day of the Dead and Dawn of the Dead are better than Night of the Living Dead. And even Land of the Dead. Was that the last one he did before he passed away? I know they got his script for other ones, but I've enjoyed all the Romero zombie flicks. And if someone wanted to put those on their top 5, I would completely understand. But Zack Snyder's remake of Dawn of the Dead is just fun. Back when malls were still relevant, and you'd imagine what would life be if you were stuck in an apocalypse and you lived in the mall. Now, the original one is excellent too. I love it to death. This one has a new spin on it, and I think it's wonderful. I think it's wonderful. Such a good movie that I will watch again and again. Now, what is the other Zack Snyder movie, just in case anyone asks here? It's 300. I think 300 was an excellent film. I enjoyed it. A little dated with the blue screen, right, and the old CGI, but not too bad. I watched it not too long ago, and it's still fun. But those movies were great. Everything else Zack Snyder's ever touched is garbage. Hot garbage. I do not like Zack Snyder. I was so glad when they killed the Snyder universe for DC. I thought it was awful. But Dawn of the Dead, he grabs number 1. Honorable mention time. It's a TV show. It is, and now I lost it in my notes here. But it was on the BBC, and I think it was, yes. Oh, no, it's not. It's not me. Oh, my goodness. That's not the one. I was thinking Dead Like Me, but that is not it. What was it called? Oh, I always forget it. And, oh, no, In the Flesh. Never mind. Typing it out now. In the Flesh is excellent. In the Flesh is a show that I think everyone should watch on the BBC. It takes place, it goes 2 seasons like every BBC show does. It does not end, sadly. That's the one bad thing about it. But it's still worth watching because it talks about life after the Zombiegeddon. There's been a cure found for zombies. And so these former zombies, as they're still dead on the inside, they have to wear contacts to cover their zombie eyes. They have to wear makeup to appear more human because, they're kind of white, pasty, pale flesh. And their teeth are kind of bad, so sometimes they have to get dentures and whatnot. So they pretend to be human again. And as long as they take this pill, they are in their right mind. They can remember their thoughts, remember what it's like being human, and they are humans, but they're a little dead on the inside, a little different. And so the story picks up. It starts where this guy gets released, and a bunch of people from this small town are getting released back to their loved ones. The problem is, though, certain loved ones ate other ones' loved ones, so there's bad blood back when they were zombies. This movie has a lot of great twists in it. I mean, just a lot of great twists. Like the guy's sister used to fight for the zombie brigade or whatever, and those guys are heroes in the small town. It's an English town. The local pub lets them drink for free. They protected the town when no one else could help them, before the army could help them. There was this zombie brigade. And, of course, his sister killed a lot of zombies, But just story after story. And then, of course, if the zombies cannot eat, or they'll just throw up bile. They can't, they're not completely human, even though they can talk and they know everything. They know their past memories. Some of them even remember what it's like to be a zombie, but they're not telling the humans that. One guy comes back and he pretends to be human, like fully cured, because no one's really sure how this zombie thing works. So the dad, who is embarrassed his son was a zombie, is pretending that his son's back and is healed 100% and is a real human, living human. Yet everything they say is a lie, because the son, the kid who we see it through his eyes, he's amazed that this zombie is drinking and eating and not doing anything. But then he has to go take a pissa, and he goes into the bathroom and he's vomiting up bile because he's a zombie still. But they're trying to pretend like, no, his cure was fully cured. He's fully human again, even though they even tell the main character that they don't know. They know this works, and they know that if he gets off it, he'll revert back to his zombie state, which if someone doesn't take their medicine, reverts back to their zombie state and gets killed. There's a girl who likes to live free. She doesn't wear makeup. She doesn't wear contacts. She likes freaking people out, though she's in her right mind. She's a little crazy, and she didn't see anything wrong with being a zombie. And so the ending is, it could end like how they ended it, but I just wish they'd have written a book or something, because there's a great, fantastic ending to the second season that I was really begging there would be a third season, or somehow, some way that the producers or whatnot would release the rest of the story, because it had an excellent turn. And I believe after season 3 it would have been done, but what a brilliant tale, an absolutely brilliant tale. Just to watch it. Now I know you may be like, oh, Matt, ends on a cliffhanger. Yeah, kind of. If that's the ending, that's fine. But obviously there's more story to tell. And it's just it's only like, 6 episodes each, an hour long each. But the BBC wastes no time in this drama, and it is from front to back just an absolute delight. I don't even know how I found out about this, because usually I wouldn't even watch this, but I did. Could not get enough of it. Probably will watch it again in my lifetime, and I just wish there was some closure to the story, because it's just phenomenal. No one's ever thought about doing something like this before. It is so unique, and it's so story-driven. Fantastic show in the flesh. Okay, so that's my top 5 zombie films. In the comments below, let me know what your top 5 zombie films are. And you can mention TV shows too, I guess. All right, for me, will I watch one of your zombie movies or shows? I've seen a lot of them already. I think I haven't seen everything, but I've seen a lot of them, Z-Apocalypse and stuff like that. And they're okay. I don't go out of my way to watch every zombie movie, but or definitely not a TV show. But if it's something I haven't seen, I may check it out, and we'll see. We'll see how it goes. Now, my next one is top 5 home-cooked meals you wish you could eat again. Benjamin had nothing for this. I was talking about this with my brother the other day. Like, there's meals that your grandmother or your mom or whoever used to make back in the day, either they don't now because they're too old or don't want to do it anymore, or they've passed on. And so there's these 5, there's these meals, and we were kind of bemoaning the fact we will never have them again. And I want to give mine. And I'm doing a call out here. I'm switching up my order here. I did this right before I went on. I knew I was going to change something. Should be my number 5, even though it means the world to me and was ranked a whole lot higher. I'm going to put it down to number 5 because there is a possibility I could have it again, and that is my mom's original Thanksgiving meal. Now, mom is, of course, the best cook I know. Like a lot of mothers, your mom's cooking is the best. My mom made a fantastic Thanksgiving meal once a year, every year. Now, the thing with mom is, even though she only makes the Thanksgiving dinner once a year, she hates that she makes the same thing over and over and over again. We love it, right? In the words of Fiddler on the Roof, tradition, tradition. We like tradition, man. We like our cauliflower with gravy. We like our gravy. We like our stuffing. We like our canned cranberries that you get out of a can. You cut them in cubes, gelatin cubes, and no matter how many cans she buys, we always eat them all. With the line, you know what I'm talking about. Everyone cuts the can. They flop out that can of cranberries and just chop it into gelatin cubes, and I love it. I love it. One year, my mom tried to replace that with her homemade cranberry sauce. Good for mom. No one touched it. No one touched it. We didn't want it. We like the canned jelly fake cranberry sauce, please, all day. Now, in the past, she has changed some things. She went with a more homemade gravy than the gravy mix. She used to do a gravy mix with the actual turkey juice, and it made the gravy from white. It turned it from white to gray, and that gray gravy with the artificial and real turkey mix was the best. Now, mom doesn't make that anymore. She makes her own gravy from scratch because she feels like she's cheating. But that gravy mix, that artificial gravy mix mixed with the turkey juice was just phenomenal. I still remember the taste of that. I remember I would put that on everything, my turkey, my dressing. I made it into a soup. You couldn't see what I was eating on my plate because it was covered in that. And I remember people would laugh at me. And now no one realizes, not even mom, I don't eat that. I put gravy on the stuffing, and that's it. Gravy doesn't go on anything else, not even on the turkey. But back in the day, I put peas and asparagus. Oh man, the peas and asparagus casserole is so good. That sounds disgusting, I know, but it's so good. But I poured on top of that. I poured on top of everything but the cranberry sauce, I guess. But some got on the cranberry sauce too, and I didn't care. Man, oh man, that was good. But she didn't make that anymore. She does not make the regular stovetop stuffing. She stopped that years ago, and I understand why. We're not poor anymore. We grew up poor. I didn't realize that. I thought everyone ate the same thing day after day for years on end. I had no idea how poor we were growing up. But when we started making money, mom's like, why am I getting stovetop stuffing? And she started making her own stuffing. I like stovetop stuffing. I just do. I just love it. I'll never get that meal back. The other thing is she stopped making it, and it just hurt our hearts. The bacon-wrapped green beans, which, again, you could make as many pans of that as you wanted to. You would not have any. That and the cranberry is going to be gone. Mom just got tired, and I get it. She made 2 giant trays of that, and it'd all be gone. The work that when you have to individually wrap and dip each, because you dip it in some kind of sauce. Dip green beans, wrapped in bacon, then cook them all. That took forever. I volunteered to spend my entire day wrapping green bean bacons. If that was what the case was, because I would waste my time doing that. But she did not want to do that anymore. She changed it up really bad this year, and we did say something. Me and my sister were like bemoaning the fact. But I've realized over time that original Thanksgiving meal is never coming back. And it just hurts my heart because that was the absolute best thing. Of course, Thanksgiving, favorite holiday of the season. So you can tell why this was originally number 2 on the list, but I moved it down to number 5 because it's not fully gone, but it's after this year, it's been replaced. My mom now, we do the Thanksgiving meal the Sunday before Thanksgiving. And on Thanksgiving Day, it's snacks. And you think that's awful. I did too. I thought that was an awful idea. I thought it was going to ruin Thanksgiving, and it didn't. I still had Thanksgiving Day. I still cherished it. I loved it. It's still my absolute favorite holiday of the season. Christmas, a nice, respectable second. Thanksgiving, still Hearty number one. Love it. Love the season. So long Thanksgiving. I will see you in a few months because time moves pretty fast when you're not. Like Ferris Bueller says, if you don't look around once in a while, you might miss it. The months go by faster than days, as they say. All right. Anyway, so number 4 is something my grandmother. Now, I have 2 grandmothers. One was called Me Mom, and one was called Grandmommy. So I'm going to say Me Mom. And my wife remembers these, and I think my wife would put this as number 1. Number 1 for my wife. But it's number 4 for me is my Me Mom's silver dollar pancakes. Folks, she would make pancakes as big as a silver dollar. Not very big. Very little. Think of it's a little bit bigger than a half cent, a 50-cent piece. And they're these, just mini pancakes. They were crisp on the edges, but soft in the middle. How she did that, I have no idea. Dad said a long time ago she didn't bring enough and said, oh no. Or no, she didn't bring a big skillet. She only had a small little skillet because they were going camping. And she forgot to bring her big skillet to make big pancakes. So she had to make super small pancakes with the skillet she had. And she did it, and then she perfected it, and everyone loved it as kids. My dad did. So that's how she made her pancakes going forward, was mini little pancakes. But the thing is, she never burned one. Not a single one was burned. How do you get it crisp on the edges and not burn the center? The center is as fluffy as anything. And you grab a stack of these, 2 or 3 stacks, pour syrup on them. I mean, and just you gulp them in like 1 to 2 bites, a stack. Stack about 5 of these. And of course, she made plates and plates and plates full, right? You could not get enough. My wife's absolute favorite thing my grandmother ever made was the silver dollar pancakes. She passed away 2 days before her 94th birthday. That was one of the last things I remember that she ever made me. Because she wasn't making, when she was older and still living at the house before she moved into assisted living, she wasn't making much. But she would still wake up in the morning and make the silver dollar pancakes for me and my wife. We'd visit her every 4th of July weekend and the first weekend in December. We'd always go to see her because I'd set up her tree. And she would serve those silver dollar pancakes, and they were phenomenal. Anyway, but R.I.P. the silver dollar pancakes. Number 3, my grandmommy's cookies. She did cookies at the beach and during the holidays, and they're in these big, giant Tupperware boxes. I mean, huge Tupperware boxes. Would fill up if anyone knows a Kallax shelf is, one Tupperware box would fill in that shelf. Really deep box here, okay? And the cookies would be, around Christmas, she'd make these Christmas cookies that my mom makes, and the formula is still the same, even though my mom has she cut corners on one thing with the Christmas tree. The little ornament at the top should have been some kind of hard silver candy, a little silver ball candy, and my mom's like, nope, I'm not going to do that to each individual cookie. So that's really the only thing missing. But basically, the Christmas cookies are still around. They're still excellent, by the way. But my grandmother made, and I think I found out my favorite one was probably the orange candy ones. You're like, what? Yeah, she put orange chewy candy and these cookies, and they were fantastic. And I don't even like orange candies. Orange chewy candies is what they were, like little orange chews or something. And that sounds disgusting, I know, but it tasted so good when you put it with that cookie dough. She made a very crisp, it was called Sand Dollar chocolate chips. They were very crispy, but they just melted. I mean, literally dissolved on your tongue. The chocolate and everything. I don't know how she did that. I mean, obviously witchcraft, right? I mean, obviously black magic. I don't know, but you'd bite into it, it'd be very crispy, and then it would just dissolve into your mouth. You wouldn't even have to, you just crunch it, and you could just suck it, and it would just disappear, dehydrate. I don't know. It was just really weird, but it was so good. Those were always the first thing to go. She made doubles of those, because those are usually the first thing to go. Her snickerdoodles, unbelievable. Snickerdoodle. I still love snickerdoodle to this day because of her. She made a few other ones I wasn't that big on. One had like nuts and figs in it. It was okay, not my favorite. One were these they were like crescent shaped, and they had powder, and they were kind of hollow and brittle and dry, really dry. But the thing I didn't like about them, you had powder on your hands. after eating one. And then the ones, I think they're called Pfeffernuckels, I can't remember what they're called. But anyway, they were these hard brick looking cookies. When you bit into them, they had kind of a, I don't know what the taste was, a licorice taste or something. Either way, though, they were good. It was just hard to bite into them and start chewing on them, because they just had a very hard, it was very hard cookie. So I didn't really like those, and those were always the last. Those and the powdered crescent ones were always the last to go. But my orange candy cookie, I ate those as much as I could. But once the chocolate chip ran out, that was the next one, and then the snickerdoodle right after it. So my top three favorites seem to be everyone's three favorites too. But the cookies are gone. Mom only makes the Christmas tree ones. So my grandmother, miss her, and I miss her cookies too. Number 2 is something that, wait, is this number 2? Am I at number 2 now? Hold on, number 4, number 3, yes, number 2. Number 2, my mom made a zebra cake. Zebra cake is Nabisco chocolate wafer, which they don't make anymore, which is why we can't have this. And you put whipped cream around it, and you form it in like a log shape, and then you put it into the freezer, and the wafers soak up the whipped cream and basically become like a cake-like substance. And then you'd cut it and serve it, and it had zebra stripes in it, which is why it's called zebra cake. And Mom would make 2 of these for my dad's birthday. One for Dad and one for the rest of us. They never lasted, and now how big the family is, Mom would have to make one for each family member. Honestly, she had to make 15 of these for us to feed, because I could eat a whole zebra cake. I in a heartbeat. I'd make myself sick, but I would not be able to say no. Zebra cake was no. I would break my diet for a zebra cake. And folks, you don't know this, but I never break a diet. Like, I don't have cheese on my diet. Someone served and put cheese in my salad. I went through the entire salad and picked up every strand of cheese out of it. And the lady across from me goes, "That is insane that you just did that." But I checked I emptied out the whole bowl, took out every string of cheese. I do not cheat 1 iota on the diet. But right now, my mom put zebra cake on the table. Diet busted, man. Diet busted. Now, she can't anymore because there are no chocolate wafers. A long time ago, they were hard to find, and shipping them, she tried shipping them, but a lot of them would break. So she'd have to buy like 4 boxes of them just to make enough for one. So it eventually I think Nabisco got rid of the chocolate wafer, so those are gone now, and it hurts my ever-loving heart that I will never again taste Mom's zebra cake. But number 1, this is the one me and my brother were talking about that we love so much, was my Mom's gumbo. My grandmother grew up on the bay in Mobile, Alabama. She went and got fresh, caught that morning seafood, and would make shrimp, crab, gumbo, and it was the best thing on God's green earth they ever made. That was it. That was the best thing in the world. And I mean, my mom copies it exactly. She's got it down to, but she can't. Crab costs a lot of money. Now that pot of gumbo my grandmother would make would probably cost $80 to $90 today. I'm not even making that number up, because there used to be crab in it too, back when crab wasn't expensive, especially on the bay. But then, and over the years, she stopped putting crab in it too, because it started getting too expensive. But the old crab and gumbo, shrimp gumbo, and those shrimp were super big too. Everything about that. I mean, just drinking the roux. And sometimes I didn't, all the shrimp, people would pick out the shrimp all the time. It pissed me off, because I get there for my seconds and there were no shrimp left. But even just going at it with the rice and just the roux with the okra and whatever else was in there was phenomenal. I love it. And like I said, my mom makes the gumbo in the roux. The roux is so hard to make, because that's the one thing restaurants never get right for me, is the roux. I spit out gumbo. I do not order gumbo anywhere, because I know it'll be garbage, because it will never taste as fresh and as wonderful as my grandmother did it. My grandma's gumbo, numero uno. All right, folks, in the comments below, were there any dishes that you, your grandmother, your mom, whoever used to make, that you wish you could have again? Let me know in the comments below. Folks, I will see you next week live on Saturday Morning Samoflange.